Hey guys, in this video we're going to learn how to identify specific special angles and what their properties are given the fact that we have two parallel lines and a transversal intersecting them. Okay, so then we have two categories. We have angle pairs that are going to be congruent, and then we have supplementary angles. So like if, in this statement up here, we'll write down if parallel lines are intersected by a transversal, then corresponding angles are congruent. So let's draw a couple of parallel lines first. There we go. And then we know that they're parallel because we have our two arrowheads on each line, and we have a transversal cutting through them. So then pick any pair of corresponding angles. Let's say that's 130 degrees right here. Its corresponding angle pair over here would also be 130 degrees. So those two angles would be congruent. So any corresponding angles when two lines are parallel and those lines are being cut by a transversal would be congruent. So for alternate interior angles, the same thing happens. Those would be congruent as well. So let's draw two lines that are parallel and then a transversal cutting through them. So then we have to, let's say that this alternate interior angle is 65 degrees. Its pair, which would be on the opposite side of the transversal on the other intersecting parallel line with the transversal, would also be 65 degrees. So then those two the alternate interior angles are also congruent. The final one, alternate exterior angles, are also congruent. So here's our two parallel lines being cut by a transversal. And then on the outside we have 100 degrees, let's say, and its alternate exterior angle pair would be right here, and that would also be 100 degrees. So these are the three angle pairs that are congruent when the lines that are parallel are being cut by a transversal. Okay, so the key is that these lines have to be parallel in order for these properties to work for these specific angle pairs. Now for consecutive angles, consecutive interior angles, those two angles would be supplementary or add up to 180 degrees. So drawing two lines cut by transversal, and we should probably draw our two arrowheads, shouldn't we? So we know that they are actually parallel. Boom, whoop, boom, and boom. So then let's pretend that this angle pair, or this angle right here, is 30 degrees. Well, its consecutive interior angle pair would have to be, its supplement would be 150. So 150 plus 30 would be 180 degrees. So then I highlighted earlier that these three angle pairs are congruent when when parallel lines are being intersected by a transversal, and then the consecutive interior angles are supplementary. In example 1, identifying congruent angles, the measure of three of the number angles is 125. Identify those angles, and then for each pair of angles, identify which angles are congruent and explain why. So we first notice in our diagram that we have two arrowheads on the actual lines that indicate that they are parallel. Okay, so then we know because two lines are parallel, we're going to have some special angle pairs that have specific properties with them. So we need to find the angles that are the same measure as 125 degrees. Well, angle 7 is its corresponding angle, and we know that because the two lines are parallel and they're being cut by a transversal, these two angles, the corresponding angles, are congruent. So angles that are measured, or whose measures equal 125 degrees, we can say angle 7. We can also say its vertical angle to angle 25, the angle that's across from it, angle 1, as well as angle 5, who's a corresponding angle to angle 1, and also a vertical angle to angle 7. So then angle 7 is its corresponding to the angle marked 125 degrees. Angle 1 and angle 5 are both vertical angles to the angles that are already marked 125 degrees. We can also say that angle 1 and angle 5 are also corresponding angles. We can conclude that after the fact that we know that their measures are 125 as well. Alright, in example 2, we have to use the properties of parallel lines, find the value of x, and then find the measure of angle 2. So right away, I know that your diagram doesn't have that, so we drew them in here. So we drew two little arrowheads. So draw that in your picture as well. So now that we know for sure, for the sake of the argument here, that the two lines are parallel, so then those two lines are being cut by a transversal. So then we have specific properties that we have to identify with special angles. Angle that's marked 113 degrees is an alternate exterior angle with the angle marked 3x minus 4. So these two angles right here, the alternate exterior angles, are congruent because the two lines are parallel, and the two lines that are parallel are being cut by a transversal. So we can set up our equation 113 equals 3x minus 4. So then we solve for the value of x, we add 4 to both sides. We get 117 equals 3x, and then divide both sides by 3, we get 39 equals x. So that's the value of our variable. Now we could have actually figured out what angle 2 is without finding the value of x, but since our directions wants us to find the value of x, then find angle 2, we'll just follow the directions. So that whole angle is 113 degrees, because we already know that the two lines are parallel and the alternate exterior angles are congruent. Now on this line, we know that's a straight angle. So a straight angle's measurement is 180 degrees, but because we just have a ray cutting the straight angle into two different angles, if one of them is 113, we have to figure out what its supplement is, angle 2. So then angle 113 plus angle 2 should be 180 degrees. Subtract 113 from both sides. Angle 2 is 67 degrees. So we just use the properties of parallel lines to first figure out what the value of x is, and then also know that a straight angle is 180 degrees, so if we know that one of them is 113, its supplement has got to be 67. Depending on the numbers that you get. Alright? So thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, definitely please ask, and have a good day.